Hey guys, welcome to the channel where we're going to be talking about everything EMS related, from funny stories to educational content. So welcome to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and leave a comment section with anything you guys would like to talk about. So today we're going to be talking about EMS in 2022, and if you are considering a career in EMS, I highly suggest you stick around for the video because we're going to talk about that. There has been a lot of changes to the EMS field over the past couple years during the pandemic, so sit down and let's go over a few things that you should consider if you are thinking about working in EMS. The first thing that we're going to talk about is that in EMS we are severely overworked and understaffed. In the EMS world, we don't get lunch breaks. You eat when you can, you pee when you can, you poop when you can, and you're pretty much going to be running calls back to back, especially if you work in a big city and not in a rural area. Now, granted, rural EMS agencies can be just as busy, but it's a different type of busy. When you're working in more of a city or suburb area, you're going to have shorter transport times, which means you're going to see more patients throughout the day. And more of a rural setting, you're going to have longer transport time. So when you ever have somebody that is, what we call circling the drain or trying to die on you, you got to keep them alive for a lot longer before you can get them to a physician. It does make for a very long day. The paperwork builds up and, you just feel overwhelmed by the end of the day. And part of the problem is the vast majority of calls that you are going to run in EMS really do not require an ambulance. They very normally could have put themselves in a car and taken themselves to a doctor's office or an urgent care, but instead they call you because they think that means that they will get seen faster, and then they usually get upset when you get to the hospital and they get put out in the waiting room anyways. The next thing you should know is that people are extremely nosy. They always want to know what's going on. Cop cars start rolling through a neighborhood, everybody goes inside, an ambulance, fire truck shows up, and everybody comes outside. I have legit seen a little old lady outside sweeping her grass because she was trying to figure out what was going on. You will have people come up to you while you're in someone's house trying to take care of them and be like, "Hey, I'm her neighbor from like 8 houses down the street. I wave at her every day. What's going on?" And it's, none of their business. In the county that I work in, we actually had a 14-car pileup on the interstate last year or the year before. I don't really remember. It kind of all runs together at this point. But people in the opposite direction of travel, going northbound on the interstate, were literally stopping on the side of the road, running across interstate traffic and trying to climb the Jersey Wall just to get pictures because they wanted to see what was going on. People will pull up to you when you're on a wreck scene and be like, "What happened?" And apparently telling them shark attack is a great way to get complained on, in case you ever wondered. And this kind of leads into the next point, that people think that they know, medical terminology. They've done some research on Ask Dr. Google and think they know exactly what's going on with everybody and always want to put in their 2 cents when they really have no clue. You can ask Dr. Google anything you want. It's going to tell you that you're dying and you need to go to the hospital or see a physician. And because of this access to all this information that people don't know how to sort through and, decipher, people call for the dumbest things. I have been to people's houses where they have called saying that they can't breathe because they want you to come and end up just wanting you to bring them a new nasal cannula for their portable O2 tank. I've had one patient in the past that used to push his medical alarm and then not respond, so he would get an emergency response, and you would get there and he'd be like, "Hey, I dropped the remote, can you get it for me?" Which of course leads to your frequent flyers that you will see all the time. I mean, in my county there are several people that I've gone to so much I can pretty much have the call report done before I even get to their house because I know exactly what they're going to complain about. I know their first name, last name, date of birth, social security number, which then allows me to look them up in our system, which auto-populates a lot of it for me. It's ridiculous the amount of dumb things that people call 911 for when they really truly don't need an ambulance. Which this in turn kind of makes EMS a revolving door because it really burns you out. Yeah, running the traumatic calls and stuff can take its toll on you, but it's honestly all the BS calls that you will run on a daily basis of people overreacting or misusing 911 that are really going to be what wear you down. This leads to the more experienced providers getting burnt out, seeking a career change, or maybe a scenery change, going from working in the field to working in the hospital, where they can at least usually get, lunch breaks or sit down for a little bit. And then that leaves you being stuck with the brand new rookie who's fresh out of school and very naive and wishes for all the bad juju because he wants to do the cool things, and makes for a really long day for you. Education in EMS is pretty lengthy. It's pretty detailed depending on the level of certification that you want to achieve. Becoming a basic takes a couple months. Becoming a paramedic takes a couple years. And there's a lot of knowledge that you have to soak up from cardiology, pharmacology, airway, respiratory, trauma, and as well as your high acuity skills, surgical cry, chest decompressions, intubations, those sort of things. So there's a lot to keep up with because you sort of have to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. When it comes to being a paramedic, you have to do the job of several people in the ER with just you and your partner. And lastly, probably the biggest thing and most important thing when it comes to a career in EMS is you do get to make a difference. It is very rewarding when you get to go out to that cardiac arrest and you resuscitate somebody and they're able to go home and be with their family for a little while longer. It's very rewarding when you get to deliver that child and it's a healthy baby and that's a moment you get to share with family. Or when you get to, that gunshot victim in time to stop the bleeding and get him to the hospital so that he can live to see another day. You really do make a difference as a paramedic. You just need to keep in mind that you're not going to be doing those things all day, every day. There is a lot of BS that comes with it, and that's just something that you have to be prepared for. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a great day.